So, I'm trying to create my very own spray booth or spray paint booth, and I'm just using this little kids tent that I bought on Facebook Marketplace for $5 for someone. It is super cute, and when I brought it home, my son, who of course wanted it and did not want me to use it as a spray booth, and actually for a while I didn't use it, I let him use it, but I needed a spray booth. I wish it was white, but it's not. This is just the sunlight here, but it's not. But that's okay. That's a back window there that has the flap down on the outside. So what I have in here now then is I bought a turntable, like a Lazy Susan that I got at the thrift store. It was actually marble. It's marble, but you know, I only paid $3 for it or so, so I didn't mind. I did cover it, just a lot of paper. Actually, I put it in a plastic bag first, made sure that the bottom was free to spin. And then I just taped and covered it completely so that if I do want to use it as a marble Lazy Susan, I still can. But I mainly put it there because I wanted to be able to spin what I am painting pretty easily. That's a better shot of it. Pretty easily without too much trouble. And I can get to the back side and all that stuff really quickly. So I did that. So that's what's in here. The other thing is I got this lamp. It's cool. I don't know, like sort of an architecture style lamp that I also have in here in the corner. So because the fact that this tent is orange, I was feeling like obviously it was too dark in here and I wanted to try and get as real a light as possible because this orange is probably going to reflect off of everything I'm painting in here. And I want to make sure that I can actually see the accurate color that I'm trying to paint it. It took me a minute to figure out which lamp that I was going to put. I actually bought another lamp. I don't even know where it is right now. I don't know what I did with it, but it was another little $2 lamp or something I got at the thrift store. But because it didn't have a shade on it, I figured that eventually the paint was going to get on it that I'm spraying in this booth. You know, it'll get like a whole cloud of paint in here. And I figured it was going to either, I thought maybe I would just use it without the shade and just have the bulb free. But eventually all that paint is going to get on the bulb and then I won't be able to see anymore. So I figured I better get something that at least had a shade. So at that point that I didn't really care too much about, although this is a super cute lamp. But, you know, I either got it for free or I spent a few dollars for it at the thrift store. So I figured I could sacrifice it to give me the light that I need for my spray painting. Although the head is a little loose, so I'm going to have to tighten something up there so I can direct the light where I need it to be. All right, so far that's what I've got here. I've got my lamp. I've got my tent. Actually, it's a fairly good sized tent. I can actually get inside of it. With the machine in the position that it's in, I have some space here, so I could get in it, but I'm probably going to just kind of have the back half of my body sticking out of this opening here. You know, I can even let this flap go down if I wanted to kind of cover some of the paint from coming out of here. You know what I mean? I could just kind of let it drape over the part of my body that is sticking out here. Just kind of, you know, I can kind of get in there and let this fall over top of me. It's a fox. It's super cute. My son actually loved it a lot, but after I took it down out of the living room where he had been using it for about 3 weeks, he I put it in his room to let him have it. And then I decided I'd buy another tent for my purposes, but he never even put it back up. So it's been about a month. He's never used it once. So I thought, okay, I'm taking it back over. And I just have the cord out of my lamp and going into the wall back there somewhere. Okay, now the other upgrade that I'm going to use in here is going to be I have this cool idea of somebody else on YouTube of using a filter, filter for like a heater or something, I don't know what you call them, like an air conditioning filter or a, I can't think of, or your boiler, you know, that kind of thing, I think. a filtration system. So anyway, I bought these for another purpose. So I had a bunch of them in the house, and then I thought this could work. So what I'm going to do, you see that back window, that flap? That opens when I go, it has a net there as well. But when I open it from the back side, it lets some air in. And that's really the point of it, is to let some air in. But of course, I don't want my overspray out to go out. So what I'm going to do is, oh, and I see it's already starting to come apart. I put some Velcro up here. I don't know if I don't know if you can see it yet. Let me get up a little higher and turn my lamp. See if I can get the head of my lamp to direct some light up there. Okay. So here's my Velcro. Now, I see that it's already starting to come off, but I'm going to pin it, and then the next time I take this tent down, I'm going to sew it. But I'm going to put some Velcro up here. And for now, I'm going to safety pin it on each end to keep it up there. And I'm going to do one at the bottom here, too. And then I'm going to put my filter that's going to cover this little window that was back there, right? I'm going to cover that, right? Now I'm holding it in my hand and I'm holding the camera at the same time, so it's a little hard to show you exactly the full effect. But basically, it's going to look like that. It's going to be behind whatever it is I'm spray painting, and it's going to cover that window. And the Velcro is what's going to keep it up. But of course, I'm going to have to put some Velcro on the back of my filter to make it easy to change it once the filter is, you know, pretty full. Then I can just rip it off of the wall of the tent and put up another piece. But that's what I'm going to do there. Now, how to make that work is, let me back out of my tent a little bit here. Sorry. So what I need to do then, I heard, is have some kind of a box fan or window fan. I only had this little one because I have fairly small windows in my attic room, which is where I am right now. The windows are pretty small, so I didn't have a really big fan, but I had this fan. Actually, it's upside down. That's not the best fan in the world, but what it did have, if you can notice, it says exhaust out right there. So if I turn my fan this way, it's actually going to pull, supposedly, the hot air out of the room instead of blow cool air into the room. And I bought that, obviously, not for my paint booth reasons, but I bought that because my dad, when I was growing up, we never had any air conditioning. We never had air conditioning when I was growing up. And so what my dad would do is he would go into his room and he would put the box fan in his window and he would exhaust it going outward. He wouldn't have it blowing air in. He would have it pulling or sucking air out. And as long as his door was closed and, you know, no other hot air kept coming into the room, eventually it would pull all of the hot air out of his room. And so he would always have the coolest room in the house. Him and my mom, although he spent most time in there watching the sports or whatever, and when we would go in, it'd be nice and cool. So I learned that. So when I saw this idea on YouTube that someone says use a fan and exhaust it outward, I thought that makes sense, because what it's going to do, what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to put this fan on the back side of my tent, not inside the tent, but on the back side of my tent, right where that flap was. I'm going to open that flap, tie it up so it's open. I'm going to set my fan up right behind it. I might have to, you know, prop it up on something, or maybe I can just use it in this direction. I don't know, maybe one is good enough, right? And then I'm going to exhaust it out. So it'll be as if we pretend this was the back of the tent. It'll be on the outside of the tent like this, in the back there, with that flap up. And it is going to be sucking air towards the fan and out. So what I'm going to do is when I put that filter there, inside the tent, in front of that flappy window there, with my fan on the outside of the tent, right behind that filter, it should, when I spray paint, it should pull any of the overspray through that filter. That's what I'm hoping is going to happen. I don't know, though. It makes sense, but I'm feeling like, how is the air going to suck through that filter? That filter looks pretty sturdy, and my fan doesn't look so great. So I'm wondering, how is it going to actually suck enough to suck through that filter and force the spray paint to go through? I'm not really sure how that's going to work. If that doesn't work well, the other filter-esque thing I have is I have some filter fabric. And it's filter fabric I bought when I was making masks for the pandemic, for the medical workers, and actually for sale to folks that wanted some. And that's pretty thin. It's 95% filtration of tiny, microscopic, I think 1 micron, down to 1 micron size of vapor, which was great for the masks. Those were my inserts to my masks. But maybe I could tape some of that up there. That way it'll be lighter weight, and I feel like the fan would actually be able to suck air through the backside of that filter. And it wouldn't be so heavy, and I wouldn't have such a difficult time putting it up on the wall. So I may try that, although that's a more expensive option. That fabric was a little bit pricey. But anyway, I'm going to try and set it up, and then I'll come back and let you see what it looks like. Okay, thanks.